Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Reaching Riches, and I'm going to be covering the trades for XDTE and QDTE. Um, and the trade week will be for April 16th through April 22nd. And whatever premiums they collected here for this week will be declared on officially Tuesday, but as we know, they will declare a little earlier, typically the Monday. So I will be expecting a declaration or them to announce it on the 29th. So we'll be on the lookout for that. But we'll go over the numbers to see how they did this week. I believe this was the week where all the Israeli and Iran news was going out. So we will see how they did. Alright, so getting into it, here we go. So the long calls for QDT did not change. Still 6 contracts on NDX and 75 contracts for XND. QD or XDTE, same thing here. They had 11 contracts all week on SPX. Outstanding shares stayed steady at 105,000 shares for XDTE. QDTE had a stable outstanding shares of 270,000 for the whole week. Alright, so getting into the numbers for QDTE, I'm going to try to make this pretty quick so you guys don't have to stay too long. Alright, so on the 16th, they had 75 contracts, collected 24.75 in premium on this is XND. So let's see where their strike was. Let's go and reveal, and it was 178. So it closed above their or the market closed below their strike, so they got to keep the full 24.75. They had their NDX here, 6 contracts. They collected $25,000 or $25,140 here. Let's go and see how they did. So they had a strike of 17,790, so that was a win. Market closed at 17,713, so they got to keep the full $25,000. Moving on to this, April 17th, XND 75 contracts. They collected a premium of $975. So let's go ahead and reveal this one. Alright, so they had a strike on 179. The market closed at 174, so full premium there. Their NDX 6 contracts, they collected 14,226, and that was a win. Their strike was 17,880. The market closed at 17,493, so full premium there of $14,000. So good job. Moving on to Thursday, XND 75 contracts, collected $1,275. Let's go ahead and reveal what their strike was, and 176. So when here again, market closed below their strike at 173. Alright, and then let's look at their NDX. Six contracts, collected 12,804, and that was another win. Strike at 17,610, and it closed below at 17,394. So the full $12,000 looking good so far. So moving on to Friday, XND, they did 15 contracts here, collected $450. Let's see what their strike was, and it was 174. So they collect full premium here, closed at 170, so they collected a full 450 in premium. Alright, so this one was a little weird. They sold NQX this time for 33 contracts. So they collected 53.46. Let's see what their strike was, and it was 3,500. So it closed below their strike at 34.07, and they collected a full 53.46 in premium. So I'm not really sure why they switched it up. Usually they just do NDX, but NQX was a little weird. They threw that in there. I have no idea why. But yeah, they did. I was assuming they were going to stick with NDX. But here we see on that Monday, they switched it back to the norm. with NDX and XND. So here on Monday they had 75 contracts at they collected 2,775. Let's see what their strike was. So their strike was 174. It closed below their strike at 172.11. So they got to collect a full premium. Awesome. So far it's a win all across the board. Alright, so their last trade of the trade week is NDX 6 contracts, and they collected 15,786. And what is their strike? That doesn't look right. Let me just double check that. 422. There we go. 422. Okay, so probably had an error there. I'm sorry about that. We just grabbed a correct strike. Oh, sorry. Grabbed the wrong number. Correct strike here. Sorry. So this is the correct strike. So they had a strike of 17,230. The market closed at 17,210, so they got to collect the full premium here as it closed below their strike. This font's killing me. Sorry. Here we go. Fix that. Looks small. Alright, whatever. We just fix this. There we go. Alright. So win all across the board. It was a pretty red week, so that's probably why, because as the market's dropping, it doesn't hit any of their strikes and they get to collect full premium for the whole week. Alright, so how did they do here? Let's go and put in the numbers. So total they collected $81,252. So that is great. So I think we can expect like a 30-ish cent dividend, but let me put in the numbers here. Okay, never mind. Okay, what was the main difference? So they collected almost the same amount of money as they did the previous week, but the main difference is that shares jumped. So here on 9 to 15 April, the shares was only 270,000, but it jumped up to 310. So that's a pretty big jump in outstanding shares. Yeah, so outstanding shares, I think how they're doing it is, sorry, let me get back to QDTE. So I think how they're doing it is they're not like capping out the outstanding shares for that week, and they're waiting till the actual declaration date. So they pretty much have like it was here 270 all from 9 April to 15 April, and then it was still here for this trade week of 16 to 22 April. It was still 270,000 shares, but now the date is like today's day is 4/28, and over this trade week here, 23 to 29, the shares jumped up to 310. So if they capped it out to like the end of this trade week, the outstanding shares at 270, then we could have been looking at let's see, we could have been looking at a 30-cent dividend. But since declaration date is Tuesday, then it does lower hours. So that's, I think that's how they're doing it. They just stopped collecting the dividends for that, or stopped collecting the premiums for this week, but outstanding shares still has time to grow all the way up until declaration, which is why I think we can see a bit lower in share price. It doesn't look like there were a whole lot of as Panda calls them, high yield tourism, as the shares haven't really been jumping up like dramatically in short amount of times. Like it went like 2 weeks at 270 outstanding shares, and just this week I think it was, what is it, it jumped up on the 25th, so like a few days ago it jumped up to 310. So I don't think there's a lot of high yield tourism going on, but yeah, so that's why I think this is why we can see a lower dividend here. All right, so let's move on to XDTE. So here we go for XDTE. So on the 16th, they had 11 contracts of SPX. They collected 75.24 in premium. Let's go and see what they had their strike at. They had a strike at 50.90, and it closed at 50.51, so full premium here. On Wednesday, they had 11 contracts again. They collected 55.40 in premium. Let's see what their strike was. Strike at 5100, and the market closed at 50.22. So these are messed up. Let's see if I can fix that. There we go. Full premium 50.44. The next day is Thursday. 11 contracts again. They collected $4,004. Let's reveal their strike. Strike at 50.60. The market closed at 50.11. So full premium here again at $4,000. This is Friday. 11 contracts for $9,064, and their strike was 50.35, and that was a pretty big drop in price. So it closed under 5,000. So it closed at 49.67. So we did collect that full premium of 90.64, and this is the last trade day, which is Monday, the 22nd. 11 contracts again. They collected 37.84 in premium. Let's see what their strike was. Strike was 50.20. Alright, and it closed below the strike at 50.10, so they got to collect a full premium. Sorry, let me fix this. That border's annoying me. Alright, so let's see how they did. So they collected 29,920 so far. And let's put in the numbers here for outstanding shares. Alright, so we are looking at a 28-cent dividend, so not too bad. Shares, I can't attribute this this fluctuation in dividends per share to outstanding shares, because it's been the same for quite a while now. So I mean, if we go here, it's been 105 for like a few weeks, like 3 weeks. And it hasn't changed, but the main thing is they just didn't collect as much. Like on 9 to 15 April, they collected 39, so they collected like $10,000 more than they did this week. So, or the trade week of 16 to 22. So that's why it's a little bit lower, but I think it's still a pretty respectable dividend. I mean, if we look here, we're looking at almost $1 in dividends this month so far. So not bad. That's really not too bad. QDTE, we're looking at what, almost $1 also. So 81 cents so far this month, and yeah, 89 cents. So XDT is actually putting out more dividends than QDT so far. Alright, so let's put that in here. So QDTE, it's at 310. Here we go. Premium collected, sorry, let me do this. Premium collected is here, and then this one is going to be here. Alright, so that is my guess, which is going to be 26 cents per dividend, or per share, sorry, for QDTE. And we'll go here. do this live. Here we go, and this one also. Here we go. Alright, so that is it right here for XDTE 28 cents. So far XDTE has been pretty good. I'm pretty surprised that XDTE has been giving out more dividends than QDTE. I would assume QDTE would pay out more just because the Nasdaq is more volatile than XDTE. But I mean, just looking at it, let's look at the last 4 dividends, like 91 cents. I mean, they did have this really small one of like 2 cents, and then XD or QDT had at 9 cents. So there, well, I guess if you look at the last 4 dividends, including my estimate, it'd be like 90 cents. So I guess they're even. But the later ones, like 23, 37, 28, much better than QDT. Alright, so one more thing I wanted to just take a quick look at is these right here. So QDTE is at $43.16. I believe it started at around $45, and right now it's at a 38.7% dividend yield. And then XDTE, I believe it started around like $52, and it's at a 36.6% dividend. So not bad for both these RoundHills. I do wish they had the same price point as YieldMax and Defiance, but sadly they don't. It's just a little harder to buy in, but at a $50 price point as opposed to a $20 price point. Alright, and then one last thing I want to look at is some Seeking Alpha data here. So this is just comparing QDTE versus QQQY and QQQ. I just wanted to compare mainly just QDTE and QQQY, but I thought I'd just throw in the triple Qs in there. Just because QDTE and QQQY, I believe, are like the main competitors to each other because they're both selling 0 DTEs. QQQY is selling the in-the-money puts, and QDTE is selling the covered call. So if we look here, QDTE is down. Well, this is just for context. This is since inception of RoundHills QDTE. So this would be like March 8th till now. And so let's look at here. So QDTE is down negative 2.32%. So this is on a total return basis. And then QQQY is only down 0.8%. And then if you look at the Qs, they are down 1.7. So really not too sure how I feel about this, because I do have some money in QDTE and I have a lot of money in QQQY, and it looked like QQQY is doing a lot better. I believe their strategy is probably buffering a lot more of the downside than QDTE. I would expect it to do a lot better than it is so far. I mean, it feels like it isn't buffering at all. I mean, it's still a lot lower than the Qs, so that is a little concerning. Might see more NAV erosion in these RoundHills. I mean, we're supposed to see we're supposed to capture the gap ups and gap downs. So maybe there's been a lot of gap downs, but I mean, just looking at it, it just doesn't look that great. So let's look at XDTE versus JEPY and SPY. So here, this is still total return basis, and on since inception of RoundHills XDTE. So SPY is down negative 0.37%. So definitely not doing so bad. XDTE is doing the worst at 0.76%, and JEPY is doing the best at negative 0.29%. So here again, it underperformed. well, I mean, it's supposed to underperform, but I would expect just some buffering, just kind of how JPY has buffered to the downside. And it doesn't look like they're really doing much buffering since they're much lower than SPY. All right, so that wraps that up. So let me know what you guys think about the dividends per share here. XDTE, or sorry, QDTE is at 26 cents per share, and XDTE is at 28 cents per share. Yeah, so let me know down below in the comments what you guys thought. Let me know if you guys are investing more in these, or if you guys are gonna sell out and maybe move to Defiance. But yeah, that's all I got. I'll see you guys in the next one.